and see if anybody has any questions, all right? Any questions for Professor Rolles? You know, he's had spent quite, I'm sure, an interesting life growing up in the Gracie family and stuff, and competing and all the different things, you know. So let's see if we have a couple questions anybody has. It'll be cool to have him answer, right?
A guy named Bob Anderson. He was like a great wrestler at the time. He went to Brazil to train there a little bit, and was a big guy. You know, my father wasn't so big. I probably like much bigger than my father. And a good story about that is that he went there to train, you know, because my father, he was always trying to, he was the first guy to probably like start cross training, because he always loved to compete. And at his time, there wasn't so many jiu-jitsu competitions, you know, it was like once in every blue moon, so he was always trying to get his team, put on a bus and travel everywhere to find any competition that was possible. And then because the lack of jiu-jitsu competition at the time, he started to compete in wrestling, sambo, everything. You know, and then one of this wrestler came to Brazil, started training with him and blah blah. So the entire time he was like making fun of my father. You know, only in Brazil a guy skinny as you can be, you know, the champion. You know, blah blah. And never a big guy could be a champion. A little guy could be champion in US, blah blah, something like that. The entire trip, you know. And on the day that the Bob was gonna come back here. Him and my father, they trained, so my father put a beanie on him. He couldn't believe. And he got so impressed that when he came back, he actually to Colorado Springs, to the Olympic Center, and he wanted to bring my father. He wanted my father to be the coach of, you know, fighting, you know, the head guy of, you know, fighting. So my father came here. When my father got here, at the time he got like top 10 guys, you know, many different disciplines.
Well, isn't that the origin of the Americana? That's why
yes,
call it Americana?
Yeah, he liked to do something like that. So when my father rolled everybody likes, so they actually invited my father to be the head trainer here. But at the time, his uncle, my great uncle Elio, he said, "Horace, if you go, you know who's gonna replace you here in Brazil? There's nobody to replace you here yet, you know." So he never came.
Thank you.
But definitely, if he was here at the time, jiu-jitsu would be like a lot more developed in the U.S. for sure. For sure.
Thank you.
Especially in Colorado, right?
Especially in Colorado. It would be like in the first state of jiu-jitsu. It was just this close. And I'll be American.
You got a question?
Yeah. So did you ever consider like taking a break, or did you ever take like a year-long break or anything? And if so, why or why not?
Man, it's crazy. Like I was talking to Amal earlier, he was just telling me, "Oh man, it's been a while. You know, for the first time in probably like 20 years, I went on vacation and disconnected. You know, so I was like, man, that sounds great. I don't remember when was last time I took a vacation like that. Everywhere I go, I train a little bit, or I try to put like a seminar in the middle of the vacation, or I'm always training. So man, it's hard for me to get away with this. You know, I love it so much. I feel very fortunate that, you know, everywhere I go, if I don't know anything, I just look for jiu-jitsu school. You know, oh, let me go there. Let's, you know, meet someone. I'm pretty sure there's somebody's gonna take me to get to know this place. You know, and then train a little. So, man, jiu-jitsu is like I love jiu-jitsu because of this. Like if you move to if I didn't know anything, I never did jiu-jitsu in my life, and I got a job transfer, or I went to school somewhere, probably the first thing I would do is like to sign me up in a jiu-jitsu school, because that's like my best friends in life I made in on the mat, you know. So I don't see myself taking a break at all.
So, Professor, is there some pressure for you by being a Gracie for you need to do jiu-jitsu, or would you? I understand that you already answered that you only do jiu-jitsu, but is there some pressure because you become with this Gracie lineage, or would you do something else?
Brazil would have a house. My grandfather had a house. They have a dungeon. If you didn't want to do jiu-jitsu, they put you in the dungeon. No, I mean, there is no pressure, you know, at all. Actually, my mother, we're always trying to, you know, you gotta go to school, you gotta go to college, you gotta have a option in your life and blah blah. But when I grew up and it was time to go to college, I did 1 year of college and I said no, my college is, you know. So no, there's no pressure at all. They have some people in my family that they don't do and we still support them in whatever they do. You know, I think whatever you decide to do in your life, you just cannot settle for just being there. Just do it. Just try to do well, you know, and do with passion. That's the important thing. You're welcome.
Who do you train under, and who's your favorite training partner?
That's a good question. I can say like the guy that I lost my father when I was like 4, so I never really got to train with him, you know, even though like he probably like taught me the basics, playing with me, you know, and stuff like that. But a guy that took me under his wings was my cousin, my uncle Helion. He has a school down in Miami. And I've been training with him my entire life, and so I can say that he was the guy who kind of pretty much took over the father figure, because like he considered my father almost as a father, because when he was born, my grandfather Carlos was already like 60 years old, so my grandfather was almost like a grandfather to him, you know. So my father was almost like the father figure to him, so he kind of did the same to me and my brothers. So if I could say like one person is him, but like another guy that like, you know, gave me like a great environment to test myself and to get tough was my other uncle, Rolles Gracie Jr. You know, Gracie Bar at the time the best guys were there, you know, in Rio. So like it was like put on beatings, take on beatings, you know, like it was like a great testing grounds. And now for the past 10 years I've been you know, training and teaching with Hansel. So like he's kind of like being like sharpening up my game lately, you know, for the past 10 years. So these 3 guys are pretty much the 3 guys responsible for who I am as not only as a jiu-jitsu guy, as a person.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You guys take a couple more questions? What do you got? Give me some.
I know a lot of times in jiu-jitsu I'll hit points when like I just feel like I'm kind of not almost progressing for a while. Is there any kind of mentality or things you do to really get over that and be over that next hurdle?
Yes. Sometimes you think you're not progressing as much, you know. I just wish like we broke records every night. You know what I mean? It would be great. Imagine if like any athlete in the world like would be breaking records every. Sometimes it's not like that. Sometimes just little improvements are important. Maybe sometimes you train with the same person a lot, so the same few people, and they get your game. You know what I mean? They kind of know what you're gonna do, so they're improving their game, and then after a while you think, man, they're like stopping me on this, and then you start to think, and then you boom, you take another leap. You know, I feel that myself, my game goes pretty much in a circle. You know, at one point I'm doing this, another point I get to here doing other things, but every time I get back here, I'm doing the same thing much better. You know, and that's the secret. You know, you just keep going, you don't have to like reinvent yourself completely. You know, sometimes small adjustment, like we saw this today. You know, probably like some few things that people seen before, but just small adjustments, it makes a huge difference. So the key is just put hours on the mat. There's no secret. Sometimes I see people like trying to, oh, what's the guard pass that I pass everybody's guard? What's the sweep that I sweep everybody? Hey, if you know, tell me, please. You know. So you gotta, the more time you spend on the mat, the better you're gonna get. There's no secret. Like everything else. If you're a swimmer, the more time you spend inside the pool, the better you're gonna be swimming, for sure.
Can I ask a question, Professor? There's a lot of talk now about just this self-defense aspect of jiu-jitsu, kind of versus the modern jiu-jitsu that's coming out that people are doing more, and you have some side of the Gracie family that the self-defense, you gotta keep that. And I always think like, what is jiu-jitsu going to look like in 20 years from now? And how do is there a risk with some of the sport jiu-jitsu of watering down the self-defense, where it really came from, or do you see it more as just an improvement on the You know, this whole kind of debate, you see a lot of guys fired up about this lately, you know?
Yes, it's, I mean, it's a very tricky question. It's like I feel that regardless of what you're doing, you need to improve. You cannot like keep the same concept and be doing the same thing that you've been doing like 20, 30 years ago. You know, I think even self-defense improves. You know, self-defense today, it needs to be different because everybody watches MMA. So nobody's gonna try to do like everybody. Maybe they never did jiu-jitsu in their life, but they know what a rear naked choke is. Maybe they know how to apply it perfectly or when to achieve that. But if you stick the neck out there and he's on your back, he's gonna do this. You know what I mean? He's not just maybe gonna grab you from behind like this. So things need to improve in every different way. And I seriously think every world champion knows how to defend themselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're gonna tell me that the absolute champion doesn't know how to defend himself. You know, it's come on. You know what I mean? So jiu-jitsu gives you that. Jiu-jitsu, I can say that to me, a black belt in jiu-jitsu is at least a purple belt in anything else. At least. Depending on what you do, maybe you're a brown belt or even a black belt. You know? So I think that's it. And even like the sports is going to evolve, the self-defense is going to evolve, and of course, depending on the game you play, you might get successful to get like maybe punch in the face. But if you're talking about a guy who doesn't know anything and a world champion who just does biri polo, what do you think is going to happen?
Arnold, let's get one more from Arnold over here and we'll close it up.
When you're teaching classes, especially for like the beginners and stuff, do you feel that it's more important to teach some basic techniques, or do you try to rely more on like principles, concepts?
Yeah, sometimes it's tough, Teaching beginners is a challenge because sometimes they don't. Sometimes I feel that when I teach like basic stuff, the black belts appreciate more sometimes than the white belts. Sometimes if you get too massive, too repetitive with white belts, with the beginner, with the basic stuff, they think I already know. I already seen this. But practice makes perfect. It's really important. So sometimes you gotta teach. It's a mix. You gotta teach the basic stuff. You gotta talk. You gotta make them understand the concept and stuff. It's a lot of, you gotta talk a lot. You gotta make them. The challenge is to make them understand that this is important. Sometimes it doesn't really make sense at that time, but it's important. And mixed with something that's actually fun. Nobody wants to do that stuff that's not fun for a long time. So it's more challenging for sure.
Thank you, Professor. Let's go ahead and close it up, guys. Right? More, so I really appreciate everybody coming down. I think like Professor Polis said, I always think jiu-jitsu is like a family. Wherever you go, you're going to be able to meet people, and so it's great to have all you guys come from different places and get to meet Professor, because he really, I first met these guys probably like, 10 or so years ago, and I remember going out first to New York, to Manhattan, and it was a very, very intimidating environment. I'm going in there, I was a purple belt, like, oh man, these guys are going to kill me, and I remember both Professor Hollis and his brother Igor and all the guys out there made me feel very comfortable, so it's one of the reasons I think I'm still here today doing it, Anything else you want to close on?
Yeah, just your words are mine, like, thanks for being here on this summer night, I know you guys, always try, always want to enjoy the great weather, Colorado it's very cold, but thanks for being here and sharing the match with me. I really appreciate it.
All right, very good, guys. Let's go and close. Let's get a good photo at the end here. Professor, you might want to walk down and shake hands with the hero behind you.